In a busy city filled with flashing lights, constant noise, and rushing footsteps, there sat a beggar outside a tall glass building every morning. He wore torn clothes, his shoes were old, his hands were rough, and his eyes carried a sadness that words could not describe. Each day he held a small cardboard sign that simply read, "I still have hope." People walked past him, some ignored him, some judged him, some pitied him, and a few placed coins into his empty cup. But most never looked into his eyes because sometimes it is easier to ignore struggle than to understand it. One day, a wealthy businessman stepped out of a sleek black car. His suit was perfectly pressed, his watch was expensive, his shoes polished, and his walk confident. The beggar lifted his head and whispered, "Sir, could you spare a moment?" The businessman stopped and for the first time truly looked at him. Their eyes met, and something in the businessman shifted. He said, "I have no time," and walked away. But the beggar's voice stayed in his mind all day. The next morning, the beggar was there again, sitting quietly, holding his sign. The businessman approached him not out of pity, but curiosity, and said, "Why does your sign say I still have hope?" The beggar smiled gently and replied, "Because hope is the only thing no one can take from me. Life took my money, life took my comfort, life took my family, but it never took my belief that tomorrow can still change." The businessman felt something heavy in his chest. He asked, "What happened to you?" The beggar whispered, "Life happened. I once had a good job, a family, a home, but one mistake turned into another. I lost everything I fell, and when I looked around I realized nobody was there to catch me. Yet here I am, still breathing, still standing, because I believe the world may break you, but it also teaches you how to rise." The businessman sat down beside him, something he had never done before. He said, "You speak like someone who still sees beauty in the world." The beggar nodded and replied, "When you lose everything, you start noticing the simple things. A sunrise, a warm cup of tea, a stranger's kindness. For you, success feels normal. For me, even one small kindness feels like a miracle." The businessman stared at the ground and said, "People think success feels like comfort, but sometimes success feels like pressure, fear, and loneliness. Even with everything I have, something inside me feels empty." The beggar turned to him and said, "Then you are begging too, sir. You just beg for meaning, not money." Those words struck the businessman deeply. He never expected wisdom from someone the world overlooked. He asked, "What should I do?" The beggar looked toward the sky and said, "Give more, judge less, slow down. Feel life, not just live it. Remember, money can build walls, but compassion builds bridges." The businessman returned the next day and the day after. Soon this became a daily conversation. The beggar shared stories of loss, patience, faith, and survival. The businessman shared stories of ambition, stress, fear, and expectations. Slowly something changed inside him. The noise in his mind quieted, his heart softened, and his priorities shifted. Weeks later, on a cold morning, the businessman arrived and did not see the beggar in his usual place. Instead, a note lay on the ground where he once sat. It read, "Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for listening. You reminded me that I am still worthy. I have found work, I have found a shelter. I am rebuilding my life, so now I give you my sign because you need it more than I do." The businessman held the sign and tears filled his eyes. The small piece of cardboard read, "I still have hope." And in that moment, he understood the beggar had never been poor. He had been rich in wisdom, rich in humility, rich in strength, and rich in perspective. The businessman had been wealthy in money, yet poor in meaning. From that day, the businessman lived differently. He smiled more. He helped more. he listened more. And every morning he kept the sign on his desk as a reminder that no matter how successful or broken we feel, hope is the only thing that keeps us moving forward. Hope is the bridge between who we are and who we can become. And sometimes the greatest teachers are the ones the world forgets, and the greatest lessons come from the lowest places. Reminding us that everyone you meet is fighting a battle you may never see yet, every soul still carries a quiet message. Inside, I still have hope.